Hello, Realmies. How's everybody doing? We've still got some people coming in here to the State of the Realm. How are things going? Once a year, we come to the point where we're about to launch registration. February 1st, registration for the conference opens. And right before then, here we are. We let you know what's been going on for the whole last year and some special things that are going to be coming up in the future. Welcome to the Realm Stream. That is our term for the Realm Makers live stream. And I'm Scott Miner, Executive Director of Realm Makers, and this is our annual event where we spend some time with everyone. We share all that we've been doing because there are always changes, right? Every single year. We do things differently. Even if we stay in the same place, circumstances have required us to completely restructure how we present the conference to you all. I think there were only 2 years that were pretty much the same, one year after the next. That was 2018 and 2019 in St. Louis. Those of you who were there, that was a lot of fun. And it was nice just to wash, rinse, and repeat for at least 1 year. But for the last 2 years, those of you who have been around know that we've had to continue to tweak and improve how we present the conference as it's gone totally virtual. And last year, we did our first hybrid conference. And it was, we got a lot of good feedback from that, where people in Australia and other parts of the country didn't have to fly here in order to participate in Realm Makers. And we want to do more to make Realm Makers fun, safe, and accessible for more people than ever before. And we're accomplishing that again this year. As we are talking here on the State of the Realm, please, as you have questions that come up, we want to address those. Please just add them in the chat there in YouTube. And Lisa is going to be watching the chat there and sharing those questions with Becky and I. She'll be here soon as we get to the conference content, but we've got a lot of things, and some of you may not even know all the things that Realm Makers does beyond the annual conference. We'll talk briefly about the bookstore, membership, awards, the retreat, which is happening in February with Alan Arnold, and then we will get to the conference. We will answer all your questions as we get to the end of this live stream. So starting out with the bookstore, those of you who've been around for a while know that we've been traveling with the bookstore to homeschool conventions and fantasy cons and book festivals, and that's been severely curtailed over the COVID pandemic. And in that time, we opened up our own bookstore because all these books were just loading down our garage and our trailers. So we opened up Bookish in June of 2022, and it has been a wild ride. We had a wonderful holiday, and things are going really successful. We've got Realmy books filling the store right alongside all the other books you might expect to find in a bookstore. New bestsellers, books by authors we don't know, right next to the authors that we do. And it's a real pleasure to feature our Realm Award-winning authors, our faculty, and right alongside some of the famous authors that you might be aspiring to be like. I'm not going to get too much more into our bookstore because I've talked a lot about that lately, and we'll just move on to membership. Those of you who came in through the Realm Sphere and you clicked on the link, you are here with us in YouTube. Other people might be following this YouTube link from elsewhere. But I just want to encourage those of you who are listening, if you are not a member of the Realm Sphere, we would encourage you to join our dedicated social network. It's off of Facebook. It's off all the regular social media platforms, and it's on our own. right there on the website. You can just go to realmmakers.com, go to the community, or you can type in community.realmmakers.com. And once you're in there, there is a free level. But if you want author benefits, critique groups, webinars, author conversations in the space where only authors are allowed, that would be the Prime group, published, professional, or business. And those are paid subscriptions. And you get discounts to the conference and a lot of other services. In the free area, that is designed to be a place where authors and readers can be in the same place at the same time. So we're not going to be putting author-specific questions or having authors chatting about their dilemma du jour there in the free aspect of the Realm Sphere. We'll be directing that into the Prime group. So we'd love to have you join us there at one of the subscription levels, because that helps pay for all the things throughout the entire year. We were all shocked when we added up how much it costs every year just to pay for all the subscriptions that Realm Makers pays in order to provide all the live streaming and all the platforms we use for presenting everything and creating the forums and all that. It's quite mind-boggling, but still very successful. Now, if you are a member, you also get to advertise. In addition to discounts at the conference, you get to advertise if you're a professional level or above, you get to advertise in the program. If you're published level or above, you get to consign books in the bookstore at the conference. So all the typical benefits you'd expect from being a member that happen at the conference are required with a paid subscription at the relevant level. And you'll also be able to find on our website that there's a member directory that you can be included in. Moving on to awards. Boy, we have grown about 30% in the awards. It was really encouraging to see the growth in 2021 over the previous year. It was like 250% growth in 2021 over 2020. And this year, entries are up 30% again over just last year, making this another record-breaking year. We're super excited by the support that you all have given to the Realm Awards. And now we also have more judges signed up than ever before, which many hands make light work. And I'm really thankful for your willingness to step in and help us judge the best books of the year. When I'm at Bookish and I'm pointing to the feature case that shows all the recent Realm Award winning books, I always make a point of telling them it is a judged awards program. It's not a reader's choice kind of talent contest. And that makes a difference. We would literally could not host these awards without volunteer support of the Realmy community. So thank you for being willing to read and listen to free stories. Now, if you volunteered to judge and haven't heard from us yet, please check your junk or spam folders because you have received communication. Lisa Godfreys is our awards director, and she's sent emails to all the judges that applied. But there are several who haven't yet responded. We can't send you books to read or listen to if we don't hear from you. Don't miss that opportunity. Please get back to check your spam, check your trash. And if you don't find anything at all, please email Lisa at your first opportunity at awards.realmmakers.com. Finally, our awards committee has been busy verifying each submission for eligibility and matching our judges' profiles to the entries we received. Once that's complete, we'll be sending you entries to judge. The first round of entries will hit inboxes by Monday. So that's in 3 days. Okay, so happy reading. We can't wait to hear what you think of this year's submissions. Thank you to all the judges, and the winners will be announced in July at the Realm Makers Conference that Friday night at the awards dinner, which is so much fun. Those of you who have been know how much fun it is, and we hope to see many more of you again this year for our 10th annual conference. where has the time gone? It is really crazy that we're here at the 10th annual conference for Realm Makers. So much fun. But and you can see that we had fun putting together the photo shoot where we could put this. Kirk always puts our illustration together. I'll name him Kirk DuPonts of Dog-Eared Design. If you've been around Realm Makers at all, you've seen a lot of his illustrations. Now, I'm going to tell you about something you might have heard about recently, our Winter Creativity Summit. It's our, we've done winter retreats for the past couple of years. And this year, for the first time, it is going to be hybrid. We're going to be live in person in Colorado Springs. Some of you are already registered virtually. Some of you are registered to attend in person. There is still room in person. We still have gift packages, and we would encourage you, if you would like to spend some time with Alan Arnold, well, I'm gonna let him take an opportunity. If you would give us the opportunity, we've got to take 2 minutes here, and we're gonna listen to Alan tell you about this retreat.
I'm Alan Arnold, and I want to personally invite you to Realm Makers Winter Creativity Summit. This is a next-level journey for storytellers that I'll be leading from the mountains of Colorado. Now, designed it to be equal parts creative breakthrough and soul care for the storyteller. Why that unique mix? Well, over the past 25 years, I've worked with more than 1,000 writers. I've been the publisher of over 500 novels, and I've been a creativity coach to countless others. And what I've discovered is nothing is more essential to a story than the heart of a storyteller. No great art was ever created without great heart. Yet in these chaotic times, it is our heart that is most under attack. So I've created an event where we are going to look at how to restore our creative hearts, how to reignite our imagination, how to renew intimacy of co-creating with God, and how to release stress and striving in the process. We'll also look at how to rechart your future as a writer, determining where your destiny is, what you were uniquely gifted to do, and how your unique voice can be maximized. Now, whether you're a New York Times bestselling author or a first-time writer, I can let you know some really good news right now. Your best stories are ahead of you if you will approach it from an awakened heart and understand how to co-create with God in a way that brings stories into existence with an eternal spark. That's our goal. That's the invitation. I'll see you February 20th through 23rd in Colorado Springs at Realm Makers Winter Creativity Summit.
That was Alan Arnold. And I want to, we can further invite you. Now, you're already here on our YouTube channel. I've got this up on over my shoulder here. But if you scroll down, you can go to Storyteller Soul Care, and you can watch Alan Arnold. He did a free webinar. It was about an hour long once we got into it. And the last 40 minutes or so are Q&A. But I would highly encourage you to check that out here on our YouTube page. Now, I'm going to try to go through things quickly so we have more time for the Q&A. But as in terms of that Writers Retreat, that Winter Creativity Summit, I would encourage all of you to check out the website. You can go to retreat.realmmakers.com and check out more details there. At this point, I would like to bring on my better half, Becky Miner. We're going to start talking about the conference.
It's that time already, is it?
It is that time already. We've been doing a lot this year, but getting ready for this year's conference, it always takes up the bulk of our time and attention.
Well, I think in 2012, when we started planning the first conference, We had no idea that 10 years from then, have done one every year, whether we're virtual, whether we're all together, whether we're doing both. It's been really exciting to see our tribe grow, and just to watch everybody just surf the wave with us and be flexible and to be so gracious as we navigate pandemic and technology and all those other things. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm the conference director for our conferences, our annual conference, that is. And I've just been really taking some time this year to look at some of the thoughts that our attendees have shared with us about being together, whether in St. Louis or back at our old college campuses at UMSL or Villanova. We started out, trying to make sure everybody was going to be able to get there, and kind of just experimenting with different spaces. And we found, every space is different, but they all work in a different way. This year, we are going to be in Atlantic City at Harrah's Resort, and we'll be right on the bay there in New Jersey. So that's going to be a great venue for just taking a walk on the boardwalk back behind the hotel, enjoying the seabirds and some summer breeze. And of course, when we're inside, learning from amazing faculty. Daniel Schwabauer summed it up pretty well when he basically said that hanging out with other nerdy writers who have a similar worldview is rewarding and enriching. And that's what we really hope you would get out of Realm Makers primarily to start. My heart has always been that Realm Makers would be a place where we all belong and where we all feel like in those other places, like our church families, or maybe out at the Comic Cons where we kind of feel like we've got one foot in one world and one foot in another. In Realm Makers, you can just dive right in and you can be fully there and fully appreciate the people around you. Realm Makers has been the impetus for a lot of great collaborations, from the starting of small publishing houses to people making anthologies together. Audio projects have spawned out of meetings that people have had, not in a class, but just in the times in between or over meals. So the classes, of course, are very important to us, and we want to bring you a world-class faculty every time. But there's nothing quite like being able to just go grab a burger over at the burger place down in the hotel food court and just sit with somebody who you never thought you'd be sitting next to, and have that chance to rub elbows and trade ideas and just be blessed by one another. I've just been honored to plant the seeds that have grown into this tribe we now call Realm Makers. And we hope that if you aren't yet what you would call a Realmie, that you would take advantage of our online resources and perhaps our conference or our retreat to become a full-fledged, we've seen you in person or at least online member of our tribe. Another big thing that people talk about is that they find friends who become their biggest supporters, not only in writing, but in their lives. Critique groups form into friend groups, form into prayer groups. And that's just the kind of conference we run. And we're super, super blessed to be able to serve God in that way. So if you come to the conference, we promise that you're going to meet people and nobody's going to act like your story's too weird. The weirder, the more they're going to be just excited that you have come up with something fresh. And we want to equip you to honor God with your great story, the story only you can tell. And we're seeing evidence every day that our tribe's works are getting stronger. Just the other day, Deborah Cullen-Smith, who has been a Realmie supporter from pretty much the beginning, she told me that her local librarian told her that she's seen a vast improvement in her writing over the last couple of years. It was a surprise to Deborah, but it's also a tribute to the time she's spent with Realm Makers to not only have friends, but to become a better writer. So Scott, do you want to give some of those facts and figures, our location and how you get there and some of those nitty gritties now that I've talked about the vision?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this year's Realm Makers is a little bit closer to us this year. We're in Atlantic City, New Jersey at Harrah's casino resort hotel. And this is the second time we've been in a casino. And there's really one primary reason why that might be true. And that is because the hotel room rates are cheaper, because we know that from experience and from talking with you that it is appreciated that we keep the costs down as much as possible for realm makers as they go up, as we start live streaming. We're still doing everything we can to keep costs down. And there are some things that we're doing this year in order to accomplish that. One of which is being at Harrah's. It's actually, we're in a better hotel in Atlantic City now than we would have been in 2020, because they had sold the hotel off. So they moved us over to Harrah's, and it's a better convention center. It's a nicer hotel. It's more newly renovated and completely separate. Like, you can go up to your hotel room, come down, go to the convention center, and you never have to go through the casino like every day. If you go venturing to some of the restaurants, you're probably going to find your way over there. But of course, that's where we are. There are a lot of good aspects to this year's location. And a lot of that has to do with just on-site meals. You don't have to leave the hotel. And there's a lot of options there at Harrah's. It's not right on the boardwalk like Bally's was. But as a result of that, it's a lot more self-contained. But you can still, we'll talk a little bit more about transportation, how you can get around town and get to the conference. We were going to talk about faculty first, and then I'll get into some of those other details. Anything that we say that brings up a question in your mind, please do put it in the chat. And Lisa is copying them and putting them into where we can see them here. So we are so excited to have now James Rubart has been with us once before. That was 2017. Actually, it was the last time we were in a casino. Maybe Jim, yeah, well, maybe that's the only time we've invited him. But we're looking forward to having James Rubart with us again. Tosca Lee, I believe this is her third time with us. She was one of the first, I think she was the second, 2014. I believe she was our keynote speaker. Becky can correct me if I'm wrong.
Was at Villanova. That's what I know. I remember it was at
Villanova was year 2 and year 4, and she was there in the first couple of years. So
she was the first Villanova, and then Davis Bond was the second Villanova, I believe.
Yep. And now CJ Redwine is our third keynote speaker. So there's one thing that we're doing differently, is we have 3 keynote speakers rather than 1. That is our keynote speaker, and everybody else is teaching. This year, we have 3 keynote speakers, and each of them are teaching as well. So you're going to be able to meet and work with our keynote speakers much more significantly than in previous years. More of our faculty here. Maurice Broadus is going to be new to Realm Makers. I met him a couple of years ago. Fantastic guy. I'm looking forward to you meeting him as well. I've been carrying some of his books. He writes, he lives in Indianapolis and works at a classical Christian school for inner city youth in Indianapolis. And those are the students that he writes his middle grade fiction for. But he also writes horror, and he writes, he's got in March, he has a space opera coming out with Tor. Really looking forward to seeing that. Now, Donald Moss might be a name that you guys are familiar with. He is an agent. He's Tosca Lee's agent. He's Brent Weeks' agent. He's the agent of probably hundreds of authors, but those are the ones that we've had at Realm Makers, who he is their agent. And I've been back and forth chatting with him, trying to get him to come to Realm Makers for several years now. So really thankful to have Donald Moss joining us. Steve Lobby, I don't even need to say anything. Everybody knows and longs for the day that they can be rejected by Steve Lobby. That's just a running joke. Everybody wants to be rejected by Steve Lobby. Usually happens first before you're accepted. But that's true with just about any agent, any experience as an author. Wayne Thomas Batson is returning to our teen track. He's taught that once before, and he's taught regular classes. And we've received such high praise from the students in his classes. We are so glad to have him coming back again. And so here we see James Rubart, Tuscaloosa, CJ Redwine again because of the classes they're teaching in addition to keynoting. James Rubart is doing the pre-conference session, quantum level branding and marketing. You definitely will want to come and see that. Arrive Wednesday night. Most people are going to arrive Wednesday night anyways, because Realm Makers is on the East Coast, and it's hard for people on the West Coast to get to the East Coast in time to catch the shuttle from the airport to the hotel and check in time to be ready by 4. And more every year, the majority of the folks who come to Realm Makers arrive Wednesday night or anytime Wednesday to be able to make the best of that time. Tosca is teaching how to keep them reading past midnight, and also overcoming fear and perfectionism, the art of audacity. CJ Redwine is going to be doing a 2-part elective called Escape the To-Do List. And Jill Williamson, how to make the most of Goodreads as an author. I'm sure a lot of you are on Goodreads, and some of you perhaps are looking at it kind of like watching your stocks, so to speak, reading your reviews. But there is she's going to help us make the most of it and creating a timeline or several for your novel. So very practical classes from Jill. Glad to have her back. We saw her in Connecticut. It's got C's and N's and T's. Cincinnati is where we saw Jill. She joined us at the Cincinnati Homeschool Convention last spring. And Clint Redwine, CJ's husband, he's going to be teaching. Now, those of you who know him, I'm going to assume you don't, unless you've been to a previous Realm Makers or live in Nashville. But I know they've since moved to South Carolina. He was a radio personality, had years of experience on radio, and he's going to be teaching on media training, how to effectively promote yourself and your book. And also Adobe Photoshop Basics. Who doesn't need to know how to use Photoshop these days? There's so many needs for images in your social media that that's going to be very valuable. Carla Hoke is coming back again. We can't do a conference without Carla. And it says elective, so we're going to have some classes from her. But of course, she's going to teach you how to kill your characters with style. Steve Smith is a new face. He is the CEO of Oasis Audio, who you might be aware is now the owner of Enclave Publishing. And Enclave Publishing is going to be the event sponsor this year for Realm Makers. And we're looking forward to that. He's going to be there as well as some of the members of the team from Oasis Audio as well. He's going to be teaching on audiobooks, everything having to do with audiobooks, not just the production of them. And so Alice Fugit, she took some appointments last year, but she is an agent from the Joy Harris Literary Agency. And I'm not going to read her whole bio here, but she was introduced to us by Michael Howell of Movie Guide. And she's fantastic. If you're looking for an agent, we've got another one for you. So excited to have more agents this year. Welcome Alice Fugit to the conference. Lisa Mangum is returning. She has come to Realm Makers on several occasions. She is with Shadow Mountain Publishing, and she's teaching on Everybody Dies. That's it. Everybody Dies, how to kill your heroes, your villains, and your darlings. That sounds like a really fun class. And Susie Q. Shout out in the chat if you remember Susie Q. Suzanne Kuhn is here. She's associate publisher for Iron Stream Media and founder of Brookstone Creative Group and Brookstone Publishing Group. So she is so educated and she consults with authors if you need to accomplish anything with your career. Suzanne has been a coach. I don't even know how long she's been a coach for, but she's been an expert in the industry for a very long time. And she began with her husband, Sean, in book sales, book retail, running a bookstore. So one of the reasons I'm running the bookstore is so I could learn something to be useful to you guys and not just be Becky's husband, right? She's the author. But now after faculty, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and go back to my notes. Now, hotel and transportation, that's huge. That's going to take a lot of time. If there are some questions on what I've said, I'm going to take a look here.
Well, related to that transportation topic that you brought up, people are asking, what about parking? And fortunately, another good thing about casinos is they let you park for free. They figure you're going to spend your money inside, so go ahead and drive there with your car. So if you're renting a car, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I mean, parking normally does cost money at this hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So the expectation, it's going to feel like you're going to have to pay money, but you're going to have a voucher. So you have to be able to get that. So parking is free, but yeah, it's not automatically free.
Right.
Right.
And a lot of people I've been seeing have been asking about where do we fly to? And Philadelphia is the best airport to fly into because we'll have shuttles. Those details will come out later. But we do have shuttles planned. And if Scott wants to talk more about those, I'll let him follow up with details. Philadelphia is going to be the airport that is going to be able to take the most flights. Spirit flies into Atlantic City, but it's hard to get a direct flight from any place but Florida on Spirit. So that's sort of like the Greyhound version of getting to Atlantic City. And it is about an hour ride. Am I correct, from Atlantic City to the airport? So whether you choose to drive or you choose to get a shuttle, there will be a little chatting time in there, but it should be just fine.
Yeah, all the details are captured on the website. If you go to events and you go to hotel and transportation, or even up here, if you go to events, annual conference, go down to annual conference hotel, and you'll have the reservation link. You'll be able to know what the room rate is. You can get rooms at the hotel, of course, during the conference. Those the dates of that Wednesday through Sunday, but you can also book 3 days before then, up to 3 days after. So from as early as July 16th to as late as Thursday, July 28th, you can get that $109 room rate. And so if you're going to make a vacation of it, a lot of people bring a spouse and their children. You can come early or stay late at the same room rate, $109. So make sure you book those days when you click reservations and book your time at the hotel. Don't book them separately. You can get that cheaper rate throughout that entire time frame. The deadline to make reservations is Wednesday, June 29th. If you miss that deadline, there's nothing we can do. But I do encourage you, if you miss that deadline, to reach out to me first, because I might be able to work some magic, but that magic is limited. And it just depends on how many people wait. So I encourage you, please don't wait. Book your rooms as soon as possible. And that helps with our planning as well. Not that you can't get a room, but it's going to be at the prevailing room rate, unless they are actually sold out. So don't wait and have to do that commuting. Now, here's what you get for free that you don't normally get. If you were just a normal person, maybe you registered late and you're just getting the normal treatment, you are going to have to pay a resort fee in order to get that free parking, access to the pool, and access to the gym. What I've negotiated with a hotel is that you do not have to pay a resort fee. That $109 is $109. You're paying the taxes and other fees, but no additional resort fee, which is normally, I think, like $25 a month, $25 a night. But you are getting the benefits of the resort fee without paying for it. Complimentary on-site parking, pool access. The only thing you're not getting is access to the gym. So if you want to pay the $25 a night to be able to go and ride the bike or whatever, you're welcome to do that. But you don't have to pay the resort fee to get that. Now you're also getting coach bus transportation from PHL, Philadelphia International Airport, directly to the hotel. There's no information yet on the website about that because we need you to book your flights so that you know when you're arriving. We're going to send out a form where you can tell us when you're arriving. We're going to share that with the hotel and the transportation company. And from there, we're going to plan when the buses are going to pick up. Okay. One thing it's important to understand, I alluded to it earlier, we're on the East Coast, an hour from the airport. So if you're coming from as far away as from the West Coast, I would strongly encourage you to travel on Wednesday. And we'll have a couple coach buses, 2 or 3 on Wednesday, and probably just 2 on Thursday. Depends on when you're coming in, but make sure you have arrival times that give you time to get off the plane, to catch the shuttle, to get to the hotel. You know, if you can arrive around like 1 p.m. or so at Philadelphia International, you'll be good, because the beginning of the conference is 4 p.m. on Thursday. So you want to be able to work all that transportation. And you're more than welcome to rent a car, but we're doing everything in our power so that you don't have to go to that expense. I know so we answered the parking question. You get the voucher. It's just going to be your card key, as I understand it. But if you need a voucher, it's going to be when you check in to the conference. I'm not sure exactly how it's working. My understanding is it's on your card key. Okay. But if anything changes, you'll be made aware of those changes when you come in to register. And we'll have something in your registration packet. All right. Now, when it comes to the hotel, this is a relevant question. Will there be a group on the Realm Sphere for finding roommates? We always do that for you. There absolutely will be, but you'll have to be registered for the conference to be allowed into that group. You can't just enter the group, try to find a roommate before you register, because we won't let you in if you don't show up on the list of those who've registered. Okay. So register early and get your rooms early. And you can get on that group before you get a room. That's in your best interest. The $109 room rate is double occupancy. If you have more people, then there's an additional cost for the third and the fourth person. And I can tell you that specifically if I dig in here, because you might want to know what that is. Here we go. So if you are going to share a room, it is going to cost, I don't know where I'm looking. I'm not seeing what I thought I would see. So I'll just skip that. It's always about like $25 per person over that second person. So here it is. Yes, it's $20. It's $20. Okay, so triple occupancy, it adds $20 a night. Quad occupancy adds $40 a night to your room. Back to the hotel. free continental breakfast Friday and Saturday mornings. It's either going to be in the exhibit hall or it's going to be outside the exhibit hall. And make sure, and there's going to be a hospitality suite again this year. So we'll give everybody the suite number. You'll be able to go up. If all you want is a little snack, you don't necessarily have to go spending money at the hotel. You can go up to the hospitality suite and get some crackers and cheese or fruit. I know a lot of you are economizing while you're here, and this is just one more way from the way we negotiate the hotel contract and everything we get you for free, the low room rate, and the hospitality suite. We're not going above and beyond. We're doing everything we can to make that possible for you. And I just want to reiterate, the destination airport where we are able to provide coach buses is only Philadelphia International Airport. There was a conversation on social media. Somebody mentioned LaGuardia. That is not true. So only PHL, Philadelphia International Airport, will have hotel transportation to Harrah's. And Becky was correct that only Spirit Airlines flies in Atlantic City. So oftentimes, if you're anywhere other than Florida, it doesn't make sense. If you're in Florida, perfect sense. Fly into Atlantic City. However, there's no direct airport transportation from the Atlantic City airport to Harrah's. You'll have to Uber or well, maybe just Uber be the way to get there. So any other questions come up on hotel and stuff, we'll answer those later. We're going to move on to your registration. I'm going to bring that up here. Just be able to walk that.
While Scott's getting that prepped, I'm just going to add a couple little thoughts on registration. Register early and you get appointments, first choices.
Yes.
It's first come, first serve. We're going to start our appointment process in May. So don't get nervous if you register and then you're like, I don't know what to do about appointments. In May, everyone's going to get very detailed instructions about that. And if you register in the early bird period, you're going to get to choose appointments sooner than somebody who registers in, say, end of March or April. So be aware of that. And it looks like Scott found his registration page that he was looking for.
Yep. This is a preview, so not everything is quite in here yet. But in the conference page, a couple of things are important to know. It's going to have all your hotel and transportation information in there as well. When you go to register, if you are a team, it's important to understand you're going to look through here. And if you just scroll, you're not going to see it. You have to answer the questions in order. And when it asks you how old you are, if you say 13 to 17 years old, some of the options go away and you can only choose teen in person or teen online. If you are older than a teenager, then you won't be able to choose the teen track. I'm sorry. You'll have to do the adult in person. Now, along those lines, if you are attending the conference as an author, a question that came up recently is, can you also add a vendor table? The answer is yes. There's a lot that goes into manning a vendor table. If you're going to be a vendor and stay there in the exhibit hall and not take appointment, not have appointments, not go to the sessions live there anyways, you can choose the vendor option, which is a little less expensive than the adult in-person option, because vendors actually this year, even if you're sitting at your table, you can actually still watch the sessions on your computer, and they'll be available to everyone. In the past, if you're an exhibitor, you're just you miss everything until it's all over. So that's going to be a big improvement for those of you who are vendors. But If you want to consign books through the checkout, you have to be a member at the appropriate level. If you are a vendor, an exhibitor, you can't have, because sometimes publishers are an exhibitor and that's how they're attending. You will not be able to have your authors consigning through the bookstore unless they've set it up themselves as a member at the published level or above. Now, teens can have, it says $0 here. If you have a parent who's going to come and just isn't going to be involved, they're just going to stay in the room, go lay on the pool, and enjoy the beach. No, they don't have to pay to be at Realm Makers, but if they want to go to the awards banquet, then you can start paying for things. If they want to be present and go to the general sessions with you and be there all the time with you, they can sign up as a conference guest in person at a reduced rate. Okay. If your companion doesn't wish to attend anything, you don't have to register them as a conference guest. But if you do, they could take advantage of the general sessions, the hospitality suite. It includes the awards banquet ticket. We just help you pick what you want and not pay for things that you're not going to take advantage of. So if you've got a guest and all they want to do is come to the awards banquet, that's all you've got to pay for. If they want to come to more things, become a conference guest in person. If they want to do nothing, we do want to know, if you're a teen, that you've got a parent on site. And that's the purpose of the $0 non-attending teen chaperone. It just tells us you've got a parent there. It tells us how to get a hold of them. And we know you're not just an orphan. So if you are an attending author and you want to add an exhibit table, or if you are a vendor and you want a second exhibit table, they are $80 each. Okay, that is by application. Now, if you're a publisher, then you're good, because that's a priority goes to publishers and existing published professional and business level members. But in the event we have a really huge rush on exhibiting at Realm Makers, we do have more space than we've ever had before. So I don't think this is going to be an issue. But when you apply to be a vendor or to add an exhibit table, it is a process by which it needs to be approved. And priority is going to go to published professional business level members, publishers, exhibitors. If you are an author with 1 or 2 books, I would encourage you to perhaps suggest that you share a table with someone, because you may not get an exhibit table if you just have 1 or 2 books and that's all that you have, because of the demand for the space, right? If you become a member at a published level, you can just have your books in the consignment bookstore if you've just got 1 or 2 books, and they'll still be available for sale. So that is exhibiting. Class sessions, just choose your, so we don't need to go through this, but you can just choose your sessions as you're exhibiting. And I highly recommend that you check out the pre-conference workshop. And Donald Moss, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, Donald Moss is teaching our post-conference session, Beyond Arc, A Journey is More Than Change, with Donald Moss. And well, I guess we need to, there's a little edit there in the registration page. Grammar. So, and then Becky was talking about appointments, paid critiques. You buy when you register. Okay, you just buy, a couple paid critiques with people that you want to see your work and meet with you for, what is that, 30 minutes?
Yes, 30 minutes.
Critique?
Yes, 30 minutes. And they look at the first 10 pages of your manuscript that you'll send to them. And if you buy a paid critique, you will receive email instructions on exactly how to get that manuscript to us before the deadline, so that we can get it to your critiquer and they have time to put a thoughtful critique onto your work.
All right. And there's no guarantee that, we're not going to run out. As you can see, some people only have 2 or 4 slots, right? So everyone is not going to be available if you are not early when you register. Volunteers, we'd love you to volunteer. It is the single best way for you to plug in to the conference. If you are coming for the first time, there are 2 ways to think about it. Sometimes you're coming for the first time, you just want to focus on everything you're doing. However, if you volunteer, it's a great way to meet people when you might otherwise find a hard time doing that. So you decide what's best for you, your first time attending, whether you want to dig in and volunteer, or if you don't want to miss anything and you find you don't have a hard time meeting folks. I would suggest that Realm Makers is probably one of the most welcoming places you're going to find, because it's full of introverts. It's full of people who feel exactly like you feel or felt that way their first time. So just want to encourage you to volunteer if you feel so that it's a great way to do that. And meals, this time we've done optional meals in the past. Another way, it's another thing we're actually changing. We're not offering the optional meals with faculty this year. We looked at it and the cost for catering is just so much higher. We didn't want to charge you $75 for a taco bar. It's just, it's a different animal here in New Jersey. Things are more expensive, and those optional meals with faculty are not going to be on the registration form. In fact, if I refresh this, that might be gone already. But yes, a hospitality suite will be available to all the attendees. There'll be some merch. We've got a t-shirt, travel mug. I'm not sure if we're going to have another product here, but you can buy some merchandise here. Let's get into some of the nitty gritty here. You will, by checking this box, you will answer the release of liability, accommodations, just giving you some instructions there. Cancellation policy, we had some questions on. So if you find that you're not going to be able to make it and you need to cancel, if it's more than 60 days prior, you get a full refund less a 10% processing fee. If it's between 30 to 59 days, you get a 50% refund, because there's a lot of money that we spend before you get there. And less than 30 days prior to the conference, it's non-refundable. But you do still have some other options. You can transfer your registration and not lose a penny. After you've registered, if you go to the top of the page, you'll have an option to transfer your registration. Somebody who has not yet registered, you can transfer it to them. And when they register, you're off the hook. Okay. You also have the opportunity for purchase protection. Okay. So right now it says $5. That's not going to be true. I'm going to scroll pretty fast here. If once you choose a registration level, this is $439. It's an early bird. When you go back to the purchase protection, you'll see for $35, you can get 100% refund if you get sick, you catch an illness, you get injured. I'm remembering when Patrick Carr broke his leg in the airport on his way to Realm Makers and then couldn't come. If you have transportation problems, your car breaks down, emergencies, there are terms and conditions you want to review. You can't just decide not to come and get 100% refund. You have to meet a qualified, because this is insurance. This is purchase protection that is not through us, and it's not through the hotel, and it's not through the registration form. It's through an independent third party that offers this purchase protection. So you can take your chances, or you can add purchase protection to your registration. That money doesn't come to us. It goes to that third party provider for that purchase protection. And I was glad to see that a lot of people took advantage of it last year, not because I necessarily want you to, but the fact that we offered it and people took advantage of it helped us understand that that was a valuable thing to add to this process.
Scott, I'd like to jump in with a
yeah.
couple of the questions that have come up.
Please.
People always are worried about eating, right? We all want to make sure that we've got our squares every day. And one of the questions somebody had was that they noticed that Philadelphia has a vaccine passport rules about eating indoors. And fortunately, Atlantic City is far enough away from Philadelphia that it doesn't apply in Atlantic City. I just looked through their entire COVID site, and that right now they have some expanded rules for outdoor dining, which everybody loves to do on the beach in January, I'm sure. But they are not requiring any proof of vaccination or anything of that sort for people to eat indoors. So our awards banquet is not at risk. We will be able to eat inside for the awards banquet. And a lot of folks are wondering, okay, so you're not doing the faculty meals, where can I eat? You can basically eat anything from a grab and go sandwich to seafood to Gordon Ramsay branded steakhouse, so you can go super gourmet, Italian, or all the way down to like, there's kind of like a little food court. It's not necessarily open right now because they're off season. But once we are in the full swing of the season, there will be a pizza place, a sandwich place, etc. So there will be a handful of less expensive options. And then there will also be fine dining. So those will be your choices. Harrah's is kind of like out on the bay, and that makes it a little bit isolated. So if anybody's thinking they want to just try to go get pizza on the boardwalk or something, you'd have to probably find somebody with a car and do that like when there's nothing going on, and that never happens. Like
there
a
wouldn't
day
be time
after
to
the
do that.
conference or a day before. If you want to do boardwalk or beach, that is definitely an extra day sort of event.
So I'll go through the restaurant options here, and then I've got some very good news about those of you who do want to travel Atlantic City before or after the conference or during. You still don't have to get a car. I'll let you know. But so here we are at Harrah's Resort. Becky mentioned Gordon Ramsay's Steakhouse, Martirano's Italian Restaurant. These are the fine dining options. Rum Point Crab House. Oh, that actually gets to casual. So there's two upscale, Martirano's and Gordon Ramsay's. The Rum Point Crab House. There's the Bay Walk. The pool actually has like a bar and food. So they call it vibe dining. And Coastal Craft Kitchen and Bar. During the morning, it is breakfast, and later on, it's a bar. Dinner is also available Friday and Saturday. There's a burger place, sushi and sake. There's a sub and sandwich place. There's pizza, all here in the hotel. Starbucks is right there. There's now Cafe Taza, Atlantic City. When I was there, they've got fantastic little sandwiches. You could just like go, they're pre-made. They've got gelato. They've got wonderful little breakfast pastries. So you can just kind of go up. It's like Starbucks for the coffee. And then you can go here, and it's got all these really nice, just grab and go food options. McCormick and Schmick's is a wonderful steak and seafood place, but the seafood is fantastic. So those are all the food options. Now, if you want to, or if you're at the conference and maybe your family is going to the beach or what have you, there is a shuttle that goes all throughout Atlantic City every 15 to 20 minutes. You just have to go outside Harrah's and get on board. There's an app called it's called the Jitney Surfer, right? I've got it on my phone now, and it shows you where the little bus is. You can see it moving along on the map, and you can see when it's going to be coming to pick you up. And it's just $2.25 if you don't buy tickets in advance, but you can buy tickets right on the app. Again, $2.25. You can get anywhere in Atlantic City that the Jitney goes. And you can also buy 10 rides at a time and save money. So This is really fantastic. It's just the jitney doesn't go to the airport. It used to, and they canceled that. It doesn't have access to the airport. So this is your way to get around Atlantic City. It's completely ADA accessible to ride the jitneys all over the city. And this was something I found with regard to accessibility at Realm Makers. If you are in a wheelchair or have someone who's coming with you who is, this is a blog by a wheelchair-bound traveler who is just espousing on Atlantic City. And I was really pleased to see Harrah's Resort Atlantic City was #2 on his list of where to stay in Atlantic City. So it's one of the most accessible hotels in the city, second only to the Hard Rock Hotel, which has adjustable shower heads and a lowered peephole in the door so you can see through the door, and a lowered door latch, and everything's lowered. The thermostat's lowered and the curtain pulls and everything. Harrah's Resort has done a ton to be ADA compliant, the restrooms and everything, the bathrooms there and the rooms. Just make sure that you ask for an ADA room for the roll-in showers. So somebody's asking another question about the restaurants. Said they were unprepared for the rush at dinner. There were some long lines. There are more options here in Atlantic City than there were in Reno. Now, if you all go to the same restaurant, that might be an issue if you all go at the same time. But I think we're giving you more time than you had in when we did it, because that was the first hotel we were at in Reno, Nevada, and we've learned some things since then. So yeah, when you've just got an hour, it's hard to go to any restaurant and get seated and eat and get out in time. So you might want to just take those opportunities to grab a sandwich or something. So y'all just can't want the same thing at the same time. Can we govern that? I don't think so. But the hotel is going to be ready for that. This is a larger, I think it's just in general, it's going to be larger and more capable of accommodating. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program. So I'm going to make sure I don't miss anything that we wanted to talk to you about. We talked about appointments, registration, pricing, book consignment. I just want to let you know, it is very important if you want to consign books at the bookstore, if you want to show up, bring your books, put them on a table, and let us sell them, you must be a member, a subscribing member in the Realm Sphere at the published level or above, published, professional, or business premium group. You will be eligible to consign books. No instructions for how to consign books are going to be placed anywhere that you can see them unless you're in those groups, right? It's not going to be published in the Prime group. It's not going to be on the website. It's not going to be anywhere. We're not going to talk about, hey, if you want to consign books, this is how you do it, except to the people who are subscribing in the Realm Sphere at the published, professional, or business levels. And that is simply due to being able to manage the space. It's become important to make sure that we can serve everyone, and that is so that's what we put in place for you to be able to consign books for free. If you are not a member, you can be an exhibitor, you can be a vendor, you can sell your own stuff if you've got a table. You can't sell your own books out of the back of your car. You can't sell books out of your hotel room or out and about. If you're going to conduct business and exchange money at the conference, you need to be an exhibitor or have a vendor table. That is essential. And that's consistent with just about any conference.
There was a question in our chat that was, if you're a virtual attendee, can you consign books?
Good question. The answer is essentially no, because in order to consign books, you have to bring them, you have to check them in, you have to pick them up at the end and check them out, get paid, and leave with them. And you have to be there in order to do that. In the past, other people have said, well, so-and-so is going to bring my books. But even then, sometimes there's an issue with getting the books back, or who do we pay, or the person who is showing up signed up to consign books, but the person who sent books with them didn't, and they weren't a member. Right. So there's a lot of confusion that comes in place there. And so essentially, you need to be a member at the published, professional, or business level. You need to be there in person in order to be able to consign your books. And if you have a close relationship with someone that says, I got you, and they're going to bring your books and do everything, they're the ones that need to be paid when they check them out. Right. And that just gets really complicated. So the answer is you have to be in person in order to consign books, in order to manage everything that has to do with selling a physical book at the conference. More questions, I pretty more. Is there more?
There's a travel question about if you're going to go to the PostCon, which Donald Moss, why would you not, right? When should you book a departing flight? That PostCon is going to end around noon. So you probably want to give yourself a few hours to get to the airport. Just especially if you're flying out of Philadelphia, a late afternoon flight is probably going to be your best bet. Or you could book another night and leave on Monday. Monday. Sorry, I was having that moment of like, what day is the PostCon? Yes, or leave on Monday.
But that would require you to get your own ride to the airport, though. And
this
sometimes people, right. So we have to be able to have, shuttles going back to the airport. There will be a shuttle as people, you're going to sign up for it. So we're going to know how many people need it. And you need to catch the one that you sign up for because there's a finite amount of space in there. But you will be able to go to the PostCon, and you will be able to get a shuttle after the PostCon. But you'll need to be ready to go once the PostCon is over, so that once everybody gets on the shuttles, they'll be able to go. Yeah, shuttles home, shuttles at the end of the conference are only leaving Sunday. There are no Monday shuttles or after to the airport, because the conference, arriving is a little bit more loose. Leaving, it's over when it's over. Sunday morning, everybody's got to check out generally. And that's when the conference is over. And that's when the shuttles are providing transportation back to Philadelphia International Airport. Great question. And there was another question I saw. Well, somebody asked a question, maybe I answered it before, but I'll answer it again. If we bring someone who is not a writer, will they still need to pay registration? Okay. If they're going to come to the general sessions, they need to be a guest registration. If they're not doing anything, no, they don't have to pay anything. If they want to go to the awards, they have to pay for the awards. But if you get a guest registration, that includes the awards, and they can hang out with you the whole time. So if they're coming with you and they're going to hang out the whole time, go to the general sessions when we're all together. They do need to be a registration, a guest registration, because we need to know that they're there. We need to be able to provide them with what they need in terms of a badge and everything. And the money that we're putting into the cost of everything needs to be paid for. So if they're just out in the hotel, that's why we have stipulated that in the registration form, that if they're not participating, they don't need to pay. You just need to decide, or your friend needs to decide how much they want to participate in what's going on with the general sessions, the banquet, the hospitality suite, etc. Yeah, I think we answered all those questions unless somebody calls out something else here. We're really excited about this year. I'll mention regarding the online aspect of the conference this year, you're not going to miss a thing. We're still going to have the special event in the Realm Sphere that's going to open up long before the conference does, where people who are in person and virtual are going to be able to be in community together. It is where the online attendees are going to consume the conference, in the Realm Sphere. In the special event is where you're going to encounter everything. You're going to get all the appointments that you'd get. You're going to be able to watch all the sessions that are going to be recorded live. There's not going to be any sessions that aren't being recorded. It makes perfect sense. A lot of conferences just focus on one room, and we're going to live stream one room because that's all we can afford, because it's tremendously expensive. We are live streaming every session in every room, so that if you go to one class, when you get back home or even an hour later, you can watch another class that happened at the same time at your leisure. If you're not feeling well or you're feeling overwhelmed, you can go back to your room or find a quiet place in the conference center and still watch that session live that you wanted to participate in. And if you're in Australia or Singapore or London, you can participate with a conference, and you can watch live if the timing works out for where you live, or you can watch during normal hours. The recordings will be available. So that's what we're committed to doing for you. And because I don't think there's any other way we could do it in this year with what people have come to understand to be kind of commonplace and expected. That's what we want to provide for you. But so there's nothing that you miss being virtual except being in person, which is kind of obvious. Anything else about the virtual conference folks have questions on? That's I just want to reiterate that there's nothing we're holding back from folks who are attending virtually in terms of the benefits, the pitch appointments, mentoring appointments. There are some limitations in just that there are some folks who aren't taking online appointments, but others are. Some, I believe, are only taking online appointments because that's how they're attending. So some people who are in person who want to meet with somebody, they're going to have to crack open their laptop. I have told you everything I have to tell you. I am so thankful for all of you, and I am hopeful that we have more attendance at our 2022 10th annual conference than we ever had before. We're planning some really fun things beyond just the sessions that are happening, and we'll reveal some of those in the days to come. Becky, if you don't have anything else in your mind, I thought we might sign off.
I have one more little addition before we do.
Oh, yes.
If there's any questions that are still lingering in your mind about what costs what or where the hotel is and everything, a lot of this is all on the website. So if you go to realmmakers.com and on the menu, navigate to our events area and go to the annual conference, all of the registration costs for guests and for attending people and teens and everything else are all listed there. You can check those out. And if you still feel a little bit like, I don't understand how being an exhibitor or being a consignment book person, how that works, there are going to be very detailed instructions when we get to the point of selecting vendors and all of that. And when we get to the point of telling you where to send books and how to consign, in the realm sphere and probably via email as well. We'll be making sure that you have very precise instructions closer to the time of those things really happening. So don't get stressed now if you feel like you don't know exactly how it's going to work. Will communicate that to you. First and foremost, we just hope that you're excited, like Scott was saying, that you're excited to have another day, to be with us, another few days, to be together, and to have some breakthroughs.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we just had, oh wait, they have another question. If husband just wants to tag along wherever you go, does that count as participating? Yeah, it kind of does. If they're going to be with you in the general session spaces, in the hospitality suite, listening to the keynote addresses, that's what that means. And the question of cost, of course, everything is on the website, so there's a fee schedule. I would encourage you to go to the website at this point. All those answers are there. All the fees are listed there on the website. Go to conference.realmmakers.com, and February 1st, registration opens up and it's live. And it's always a competition to who's going to be first. But just bear in mind, register early so that you can get all the communication that's coming out regarding all of the details. So Becky, thank you for your help. And Realmies, thank you for being here. And Lisa Godfrey's in the background. We thank you for moderating today's live stream, and wish you all a very happy rest of your week, rest of your weekend, and good night.